Alright, it's me again. Today we will be taking a quick look at our macro system and how to make the template files. So you start by setting up your template file. This is going to be mine. I'm just going to make some adjustments to it. And you always start with the standard file. So the color, as you may know from emailing and other things, we have 3 color groups, which is double darks, whites, and standards, and so we have to have 3 templates for each promo. So as I said before, we start with the standards, and you build your whole thing in the standards. And that basically means that all the clothing items or base colors will be black, yellow, and blue, or 20% gray, and then white. So basically there's 5 colors you can use, which is, they all have specific names too. So the yellow, as you can see over here, is called deep yellow. The blue is called navy blue. Black is called black. The gray is usually 20% black. Yep, 20% black. And then there's white, which is called white. So the yellow represents the light color in your act data. So you have, for example, St. Mary's Titans, and their school colors might be orange and forest green. So the yellow would represent the orange because that's the lighter color, and the blue would represent the forest green because that's the darker color. And then white is just white. White is always white, pretty much. So you would design it with your clothing items first. So you have a black item, a colored item, a dark colored item, and a gray. So black and gray stays black and gray. The yellow changes to the light color, and again the navy changes to the dark color. So that being said, you can use them in any combination of colors on the standards, but that will change when you make your other files. For example, if you're doing a school that only has one color with white. So after you finish making your standard file and all the colors look good, so here we have a black sweater with white, we've got a colored sweater with a dark color on top, we have a dark color with white, so that it stands out. You don't want to have 2 of the same colors or anything that will change into the same color on the sweater. So for example, if this was black with yellow instead of white, and their lightest color was forest green, that would be forest green on black, and that would look terrible. So you don't want to do that. Anyways, once you do your standard file, you can click Save As, and then save it as the whites or the darks. So when that loads, I will show you the next step. So now I'm going to save that as chess_w for whites. And now we're going to modify it for a school that only has white and a color. So usually what I do at this point is I'd open up an old white one to reference to. So I'll open Cricut, which is already finished, and it'll show us what the whites looks like, except that those parts shouldn't be yellow. So that's probably not the best example. And this is usually the point where I would start the video over again, but I'm not going to, so I'm just going to fix this and we'll open a different one. save that. We can just use this one. This is an interesting one, because in this case the yellow would turn into white anyways, because white is a light color, and white in a color, obviously. So these should technically all be white, all the yellow parts, but it doesn't really matter because they'll just turn into white when you run the macro. But to reduce confusion, I'll open up one that, or I'll just show you on the chess one so that it makes more sense. So, yellow is going to be white, as I just explained, so we're going to change that yellow, or the colored hoodie, sorry, into a gray hoodie. That one is going to be gray. Oops. And now I want to change these yellow parts to be gray, but can't seem to select them, so I'm going to hit ungroup all. There we go. And there's a 20% black. And we're basically going to go through and change all the yellow colors to white, because that's the color that they will show up as when you run the macro anyways, because white is the light color. And you can actually use the color replacer. That works most of the time, but it sometimes doesn't like when colors are grouped. And as you can see, the specific colors are named down here, so you can see deep yellow. It's obviously named. For something like this where you have the light color and white, this will just change to white, so I'm going to change that to gray so that we have at least a little bit of contrast left. Same thing here, we've got yellow and white again, so I'm going to change the yellow part to gray so that we can have a combination of colors. Here we're going to go white. Oh wait, I'll use a color changer. So, one of these guys up here is usually the color replacer. So I'm going to select the deep yellow. It works better if you make a square outside of the image. I'm going to click whole document, and then I'm going to select white. So that's what I want to replace it with. Press OK, and hopefully that runs through, and everything that was yellow is now white. And if we press F4, we can zoom out to the whole page. That looks pretty good. And that's how you do the whites. So we're going to save that. I'm going to open the standards again, the first one that you made. Is this. Should have saved. I was working from the backup file, so I'm going to just save it as the main file in a second. And now I'm going to do darks, because this one's already finished, so I'm going to save this as darks. When the computer gets there we go. So I'm going to save it as chess_d, just as a D representing darks. So double darks are two dark colors, which would be something like navy blue and forest green, which doesn't really show up very well together. It shows up terribly together. So basically in that case, you would just want to try and imagine this as if it were two dark colors. In the instance of having two dark colors, your yellow would change to the lighter color, and your navy blue changes to the darker color, which in this case where you have yellow and navy blue, it's just going to blend in and not be very visible, and you want more contrast, so you're going to change one of them to white. So in this case, that's all going to be white. Oops. So now the yellow will change to whatever dark color. As I said before, double stands for double darks. So let's say forest green or navy. So it'll be either forest green or navy, and then it'll have the white graphic on top. And that solves that problem. This will be gray with a dark color. We're going to have the same issue here, so I'm going to change all these to white. And again, the same issue over here. Oops. Alright, so I think it looks pretty good, but just in case I'm going to open up one of the older files. Let's check out the Cricut Darks, see what that looks like. It's looking pretty good, except they took out the yellow from here as well. So probably won't like a dark color wouldn't show up on black. So I'm going to go back to my one and take out the yellow as well. It's pretty similar to the white template that you made, except that instead of having a gray hoodie, you have the option of two different colors of hoodie. There you go. Just gonna select that, try to use the color replacer. It automatically selected selection for me because I had things highlighted. And that would be your darks. Probably should change that name over there. And now I'm going to compare it to the Cricut. Looks good, looks the same. And there you go. So this blue could technically be yellow. It would change to either one of their school colors, because the hoodie would stay gray. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to edit the object data. So, if you go to Window, Dockers, there's an Object Data Manager, and this weird thing comes up. So if you click on any of the things that say school, you'll notice under name that it says School 1, which refers to the column in which it gets the information in your ACT data, which is what you'd be using to make the multiple templates. If you don't know what that is, then you should watch the emailing or faxing video. So basically, if you wanted this to say, if this was changing into the school name and you wanted to say mascot, you would put mascot in here. So for example, let's say I wanted to change this to school. I would get text first, just so I don't get confused. Or the person who's running the macros won't get confused. Name it what variable it is. So let's say school. And then you want it to change to the name of the school, so you type in school under name. You'd select name right here, and then school 1. It all has to be lowercase, and then you press enter. It changes to school 1. And so now when you run that macro, that will change to school. And then you can, I guess, make this be a mascot. You don't want to have school and school. So you could go into name again, type in mascot 1, and hit enter. And that would change it to mascot. It still says school, but when it runs it would change into mascot, so I would just change the text to eliminate confusion. And you'll notice that most things are uppercase letters, and then there are things that are lowercase letters. So on the items that are lowercase letters, you'll notice that it says mascot 2. And that is because when you run the macro, which I will show you right here, you have all caps 1 and all caps 2, so this allows you to separate things that you want the data that you want to be all capitals, you select all caps 1, and the data that you want to show up as lowercase or however it's spelled in your data will show up as all caps 2. So you uncheck all caps 2 so that you get the lowercase in the script. And that's what that's for. So now you should be able to create your own templates. Also, the last thing I guess I should show you is the envelope tool. So, for example, you could have a mascot that's like the Greendale Elementary Cats. That's only 4 letters. But you could also have a mascot that's like the Vultures, which is a lot longer. So you use the envelope tool, which is this one over here, and that allows you, it keeps the text within a certain space. So as you can see, it has the points there, and the text should go no farther than those points. So occasionally you do have to just put a minor adjustment on it if it's going out of the way. If you just grab it, move it a slight bit, it should fix that problem of it reaching the edges of your image. You can also grab the whole item and shrink it, and that would stop it as well. And that is the end of our video. Thanks for watching.